Next up is a keynote conversation with Endemol Shine Group and Microsoft. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tony Emerson, Managing Director of Worldwide Media and Entertainment at Microsoft. And please welcome Lisa Perrin, CEO of Creative Networks Endemol Shine Group.
Hello, everyone. There's a good amount of seats. Thank you for joining us. First of all, it's a pleasure to welcome Lisa here today. Lisa Perrin's the CEO of Creative at Endemol Shine Group. Endemol Shine Group's the largest independent producer, independent production company in the world.
We are.
Yeah, and I think about MasterChef, Big Brother, Your Face Sounds Familiar, Fear Factor, but what surprised me, I've lived in the UK for a while, but I hadn't seen all of these. We have Black Mirror, Humans, Peaky Blinders, Broadchurch, that are sold in more than 100 markets around the world.
Yes, we are. We are the biggest production company in the world. We are the biggest IP and content creator in the world. And we have some of the biggest television brands that live across all platforms.
And Lisa's responsible for the non-scripted and scripted pipeline of the Endemol Shine Group, which, including the international rollout of all the formats and...
So my department is not only scripted and non-scripted development and production, our global development and production, also research and insight, tech and innovation, why I'm here with Tony, production rollout formats, and also very interesting to hear the marketing discussion earlier about brands, because I believe we are now also very focused on creating brands that live on multiple platforms, wherever it's not just making a television program anymore. Peaky Blinders, Black Mirror is a brand, and people connect with that brand very, very strongly. And we put a lot of thought about how we do that.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about how artificial intelligence and machine learning is really contributing to the growth and ways you go about doing that. But Lisa wouldn't be a good CEO if she didn't come along with a show reel. So we have just a couple of minutes to give you a little bit of excitement of what's going on at Endemol Shine. Could you roll the video, please?
You ready?
You're about to embark on the toughest thing you will ever do.
Are you confident about today?
I am very confident about today.
Olga Guillot.
22 boxes, £250,000, just one question.
You will witness the impossible.
Oh boy. Obviously not what he had in mind.
That's not enough millipedes. I need more.
Let's have a little fun here.
It'll be much easier if you just comply.
Seriously?
That's beautiful. That's wonderful.
I don't know what happens next.
I couldn't have done this without you.
Don't be nice to me. It's not how it works.
I will not bow to any man whose blood carries no more divinity than mine own.
Why is this happening to us? A few days ago, we were a normal family.
I like you more than anything I've ever seen, or touched, or heard.
It's not procedural. It's personal.
Very real, very incredible people.
This is bigger than us. It's the best thing I've ever done.
I know everybody's watching this and they're thinking, wow. I love it, I love it, I love it.
You know, every time I see that, there's a new program I didn't know I'd seen before that's on there, so I'm very impressed. And I think when we start talking about productions and changing things and rebooting them, you look at AI, it can be real-time analysis, logging, researching, automated clip packages, getting assets delivered remotely, personalized viewer experiences. What are one or two of those that you think are sort of the biggest impact you see in content creation?
Shall we talk about our story? Because I think that's the kind of start of it. Tech and innovation was wound into creative networks by my CEO, Sophie Turner-Lang. She wanted to bring it very close to production, around about April last year, I think. And our big challenge is with Big Brother. You know, Big Brother is nearly 20 years old. We make it in exactly the same way that we made it 20 years ago when John Endemol launched it in Holland. There are camera runs. It kind of looks a little bit overlit. And we wanted to really refresh the brand. I mean, Big Brother is one of our juggernaut brands, rather like MasterChef in non-scripted space. And we were thinking about how we made it look better, and we kind of gave something new to our clients, the broadcasters. So we started working with Microsoft. Actually, my team in Holland started working with their local team about cloud-based editing, which we found really, really interesting because it allows us to basically film Big Brother anywhere in the world and edit it anywhere in the world. So we could have, for example, we make Big Brother in the UK, Celebrity Big Brother's just been on, and it's been a shit January at home, let me tell you. We've had no sunlight at all. And actually, using AI and cloud-based editing means that we could, and we were talking to the broadcaster, potentially putting the house in Mexico in January, but still editing in London, which means that most of the team can stay in London, and it's real-time editing. So for us, it really opened up our creative possibilities. And that was really exciting. And that was a conversation that then we started talking about what other things we could get from the cloud, all the APIs that we can get out of it, particularly with Big Brother, wearing the sort of smart, intelligent Fitbits that people were talking about. We can find out, for example, if your heart rate goes up when a certain person walks into the room. So there's all the conjecture around, is there romance brewing in the house between two people? So for us, the AI experience really, really opened up all our kind of, got our creative juices really working, and we really felt that we could bring lots and lots of added extras to the show.
And you had a lot of people who would spend their time right after their productions keying in everything to get transcripts of what was said and where it was said and who was saying it to whom. Now all of that's automated out of the cloud. So then your producers and are really concentrating more on what was said and when it was said and who they were speaking to.
So yeah, I mean, absolutely. In terms of the workflow, making the workflow smoother, more, I hate the word efficient, but it is more efficient because, you know, loggers used to be churning through loads and loads of tapes, finding moments that they could deliver to the edit. Coming out of the cloud using AI means that actually it's real-time information delivered to a screen. We know precisely what's happening. The computer has read your mood, it's read your emotion. Are you happy, you're sad? In that 5 minutes says they're whispering, there must be some action there. So we know instantly where to go. So it's completely changed our workflow. And then that package of information is delivered straight into the edit. So the editor doesn't have to spool through acres of tape to find that moment. It's there in front of them. So for us, it's speeded up a very, very laborious and labor-intensive process in terms of filming, you know, 24/7, 12 to 16 people in a house, potentially over 8 weeks, into something much more kind of doable. And actually, the program is much better, and that's the most important thing. We've been able to use 4K cameras instead of camera runs, and it looks phenomenal in terms of, we've been testing it in Spain quite a lot, in terms of where it used to be to where it is now.
So it's not necessarily changing the story, but it's improving your ability to extract from what's going on more quickly something that's better. So the content improves.
It's not changing the story at all. It's enhancing the storytelling. We have changed the workflow, I think, and I think AI is going to disrupt all of television workflow. It's not just, we're talking about Big Brother, but actually some of the technology, as Tony knows, we're looking at rolling out in other formats. MasterChef, Hunted, The Island. We make The Island in Panama. You know, actually we can film in Panama now and actually edit in London or Paris or wherever we choose to. So in terms of what we want to do, where we can go, it has opened huge amounts of opportunities.
I was going to say, because you're such an international brand, that flexibility of moving between location and concentration of expertise is quite important, because you essentially, if you say to certain people you have to go to this place, you're going to lose some of them in the process. They're going to say, no, that's not in my lifestyle choice.
Yeah, and it's just hard when, just thinking back to the island, you know, when you're filming on the island with Bear Grylls, you know, and you have a team of potentially 50 people out in Panama, often a quarter of them are sick. They don't, as you said, don't particularly want to go and leave their families for 6 weeks. It's quite arduous. It's much easier to send a small filming team and then edit it in London, or, as I say, Amsterdam or wherever else we want to edit it. I should actually go back about AI possibilities within scripted as well, and I know Netflix are using this as well. So Netflix obviously have their very, very secret magic algorithms that we would all love to know as program makers, because if I knew that, we'd be knocking out hits every 5 minutes. And I know that they're using the AI very effectively to keep viewers, save money, and it's something that we also are thinking about, how we start writing scripts using talent that hits certain algorithms that we know are more popular, and the computer can read that.
And some of the things we can do now, facial recognition gives us immediate access to where a person appeared in an entire series, so you can go back and capture that. Or sentiment analysis tells us what people were speaking positively, negatively, or neutrally within a certain scene. Or, importantly, for international distribution, we can go through and determine things that are adult, or just only racy, not adult, or family friendly, and edit for those, because there are many markets we can't do that. But IBM used Watson at the Grammys to inform the red carpet and pick out images and comparisons. So there are a lot of different ways this is coming.
Yeah, and actually the BBC are starting to use it in their scripted as well. On their radio, BBC Radio, that you can choose storylines. And I certainly think that's going to be coming through very quickly, where people will be able to choose what storyline they wish to end certain bits of their scripted favourites, for example.
So the big question is, if you had to say that AI is going to be more important in being more efficient or in creating new and better content, and you can't say it's equal, which one do you think is going to be more important?
God, that's a really hard question. There will be efficiencies, and I would be lying if I said there won't be. And certainly, you know, all the testing that we've done, it's less laborious, there's less labour needed. You definitely have less people logging, less people editing, it's more efficient. So it is more efficient in terms of time and labour. Creatively though, I think AI really, really opens up massive doors. In fact, Tony and I were talking about an idea earlier on, which previously it's come from one of our labels in the UK that developed a big kind of SVOD non-scripted game show. And actually, some of the stuff they've come up is so big that kind of probably about 2 years ago, you'd think there's no way we are ever going to be able to bring that to screen. Absolutely no way, because it's so ambitious. But actually talking to Tony, you know, and the Microsoft guys, it means that some of the stuff that we are talking about is actually very doable in terms of real-time play-along, in terms of real-time statistics out of the show. So I think creatively also, it's incredibly exciting. And that is scripted and non-scripted as well. I know that the creators and the writers feel exactly the same.
I think that you know, we can look forward to the day when we can all participate in Big Brother by being in the room, even if we're not in the room.
Well, some of the APIs that we're getting from the cloud, and one thing that we want to do is roll that out to the viewers. Again, interestingly, listening to the last chat, the marketing chat, you know, Instagram, you know, Big Brother people that watch it are older. You know, my son who's 14, he doesn't watch Big Brother. He's on his phone, he's on Insta, he's Snapchatting. But actually, the ability to be able to give our superfans real-time footage that they can edit and post up straight away, that's kind of exciting, and we're talking to a couple of our broadcasters about that as well. So it just means that you have real viewer engagement with what's going on right now, and I think that is another opportunity for AI.
Yeah, I'd implore the audience to think about things that you couldn't do before. We had a partner, UFA, in Berlin, who has also a very large production backlog of 25 years of programs. And they were able to go through it very quickly and do transcripts and other information based on it, which allowed them to create metadata, which they didn't have, because for most of the programs you had 25 years ago, the metadata was the name of the program and the broadcast date, and if you were lucky, the actors who were in it. And now they can use all of that information as a way of either re-editing or in some cases just being able to redistribute content that didn't have any value to them. It was on a shelf somewhere. So that's on the efficiency side. On the creative side, what do you think is the number one thing that people are going to be able to do creatively that they couldn't do before? Or is it the sort of thing we just don't know what it is yet?
I genuinely don't know. I don't think we've gone there yet. I think, and as the machine learns so quickly, and it is learning quickly, we'll be catching up with it, I think. And it's only when it's challenged, and when you put challenges in front of it, that you'll really know what its capabilities are. So we know that we can disrupt the workflow. We've done that with the computer. We want to engage with it in some creative form in terms of bigger kind of creative offerings to the viewers. We know it can do that. I think what it can do is it's still learning, and we want to be able to work with it to challenge that. The other thing I wanted to say, and we were talked about earlier, was also about data protection, which I'm sure people will want to talk about. And for us, all of our information being in the cloud is a much safer proposition from where it was before, which was usually on tape, boxed up, held securely somewhere. So for us, you know, the fact that we have hours and hours of millions of hours of tape in the cloud is reassuring, because we believe that that's a much safer place for it to be.
And when we were talking about this, you were mentioning the vast amount of information you have on non-celebrities who come into Big Brother and participate in it, and what you have to know about them ahead of time to know that they're going to be stable, and then what happens to them afterwards.
But if you think all of our programs are always about, they're always storytelling, be it scripted or non-scripted. So you have all of our casting, be it on MasterChef, Junior MasterChef, Biggest Loser, Big Brother, be it Big Brother in the US, Big Brother in India. We know a lot of stuff, very private stuff about people, and particularly with Big Brother, you have full psychological reports, because you have a duty of care for people that go into reality programs. So for us to keep their privacy as safe as possible, it's our responsibility. We have a duty of care to do that, and I genuinely think it being in the cloud, despite all the kind of detractors from that, is far safer from where it used to be, which was often in files written down on computers, again filed away, tapes that were boxed up, put in secure places. So yeah, so for me, cloud-based is much better.
And I think that the applicability of AI in general, what we can use that for in terms of discovering when things maybe are leaking, or when information is out there that shouldn't be out there, is another potential possibility. But back to efficiency for a moment. I think there are a lot of concerns that people have that this is going to do away with certain jobs. And there's no question that AI and ML in some ways are going to do away with some jobs. But the best quote I've ever heard, and I can't remember the woman's name who said it, is remember that if it's doing away with robotic jobs, those are jobs that you don't necessarily want people to have. If you free them up to be in more creative jobs that involve human thinking and human excitement, that's much more exciting. So I think of all the people who spent the time just typing in whatever they were hearing on headsets, as opposed to instead employing them to correct the things that the computer got wrong, or put the nuance in that it couldn't get. I think that's a much more fitting way. We do have one slide, if you could bring it up now. This is how you think you can enrich your content by cognitive services. It's down here as well. So talk about the Internet of Things and how you think that might impact it.
So this was, I mean, based purely around Big Brother, as you could probably see. So cameras, all the rooms in the Big Brother house are remotely cameras, and so the Internet of Things. So we get the biometrics off our cast. We get where they are in the house, so the computer reads wherever they are at any one time, and also the communications and the scale of communication, be it non-verbal, so facial recognition, and also whether they're whispering, whether they're shouting, whether it's an argument, whether they're making love, whatever they're doing, that Internet of Things we capture immediately. That goes straight into the cognitive, into the cloud, and we're able to kind of read it in real time. I mean, it's amazing actually. When we were doing the testing in Spain, we were filming, there was something like a delay of maybe a second before it was delivered into the edit suite. It was quite incredible. And then from that, you can extrapolate the content. So the content obviously is the TV program that goes out on mostly on linear platforms. The social media, as I said, in real time we can clip and give superfans clips that they can upload on Instagram, and they can be, you know, of their favourite character in the house, they can be of the favourite moments, be it arguments, be it slightly racier stuff that we probably couldn't have put out on linear programming. And also we can as program makers, we absolutely understand our viewer. We have more of a kind of touch point with our users as well, which I think is really, really important.
And then you can have user involvement as well, so that they can start maybe deciding the next arc in the story, or the next thing that's going to happen, or vote on something.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, when we started posting it up, you can get likes, instant likes. So you can see people sending out the hearts, the thumbs and everything, which was kind of in a way which was really lovely to see.
I know I'm a fan of Formula One racing. Well, the e-racing right now has a feature where in the second half of the race, depending on fan voting, different drivers will get extra boosts, which is, you may say, well, that's not a sport anymore. It's entertainment, and if it draws more fans and more viewers, then I think it's excellent. So is this the future, not just for Big Brother, but for other reality programs that you do?
We are looking to roll it out into a number of our formats. We're making a big show for Sky at the moment. It's a very big sort of high concept show which we are looking to roll this technology into. And in fact, if we didn't have this technology, we wouldn't be able to do it. It's hugely ambitious. In fact, it's around a village in the middle of England, and that as a format will be rolled out around the world. And obviously, the rest of the world, other than the UK and the US, who have good television budgets, don't have the access to the money that we have. So the fact that we can use this technology and make this format scalable, we're already looking to sell it in Holland, who have much smaller budgets and much tighter margins. So this technology really helps formats to travel.
Going back to the origins of Big Brother, which was
absolutely
in Holland. So we have time, I think, for a couple of questions, either about Endemol Shine, what they're doing, or how we're using AI. Anyone?
Don't ask me any questions about Peaky Blinders.
So I'm curious to know, when you decide on a particular product or show, do you decide on the format of how you're going to deliver, and would you ever deliver just in the digital channels, like, not necessarily Netflix, or would you make something specifically for a digital channel that we've been talking about?
Streaming.
Streaming, yes, thank you.
So developed specifically for an SVOD, for example?
Yes.
Can you repeat the question?
So when you're in the process of deciding to greenlight a project, do you ever do it based on, we're only going to stream this, or we're only going to deliver this as a digital product rather than something that we're going to try to sell as a linear program, maybe even enhanced by digital, but linear being the first part?
Yes, is the question. We are particularly, again, drawing back to the very interesting conversation previously, content makers now, particularly unscripted, they're writing for Netflix and Amazon. They're writing for content that doesn't have a break. So you don't have to think about where am I breaking. You're writing a story for 59 minutes. A lot of the writers, you know, people like Neil Cross have written for BBC One, which obviously doesn't have a break either, so they are used to writing 59 minutes. It's more challenging for non-scripted, and it's interesting how Netflix is going to kind of evolve into that into the non-scripted space, as well as Amazon and various other of the SVODs and non-linear platforms, because, you know, with non-scripted, you're used to having a break, to building to a climax, stopping, and then coming back after a break. So I think that is going to be a challenge, and a lot of the creatives are looking at that now. So yes, in your answer, we do specifically develop for different platforms, and doing that more so.
Mr. Style, LA News.
Hi.